As I said, we had outstanding conversations before we came on, but that could get us in a little hot water. So we are not.
Yes, I think
not
we
today.
can solve societal problems
Yes, we quietly. Yes, we're going to do it. But there is one that we are not going to go quietly into the night with, which is we wanted the entire employee to show up.
Oh, so bring your whole self to work.
Bring the whole self to work.
Oh.
Okay. Do we really want the whole self?
No. And I speak at a time where I would say that sounds awesome.
It does sound.
5 years ago.
How long did it take for the wheels to come off of that?
As soon as COVID, employee turnover, and a shrinking available qualified talent pool, if you take a look at the turnover numbers in particular, it's a problem. When employees are leaving because they're burned out, all the data points that I've been looking at, like various Gallup polls, for instance, point to maybe they're not leaving because of their manager. Maybe they're leaving because they're emotionally intelligent and they can't take all of their coworkers complaining about their personal lives all day long to them. It's burning them out. They want to be an empathetic, supportive coworker. But if you become the dumping ground for that person bringing their whole self and whole life to work and having nothing positive to say ever about what goes on in their whole life, yeah, you're going to burn people out. That kind of brings the culture down when everybody's negative all the time. So there's an emotional professional element that's missing here with some people. And I think it was a miss, honestly, with the younger workers where they lost out during I hate to keep blaming COVID. It's like the longest hangover ever. But there were periods of time for which younger people weren't around their peers and teachers and role models and mentors to understand social cues a little bit better and to understand when you let that filter in your brain work properly to leave the quiet parts in your head instead of saying them out loud all the time.
We thought it was there.
Yeah.
We knew it was there because it had been told to us in years and generations past.
That's right. Yeah.
And then
it's judgment, reading the room.
How can you read the room when we're trying to do it by Zoom?
Hard to read the room by Zoom, but even then I would submit you have to remember trickle down, particularly for the younger employees. If you've got leaders that say inappropriate things and throw temper tantrums and don't exercise patience, you're going to get the same thing from the employees that don't know any better because they're taking their cues from the very visible leadership team, whether it's visible on Zoom or in an office. That all trickles down. You have to be very careful when you're a leader. When you're a leader, everybody's watching. Everybody's watching. They're taking their cues from you in terms of what is and is not appropriate to say in your workplace. You make the call. It's your workplace. It's your brand. If you say this is the way I want our culture to be, it's first up to the leaders to demonstrate the behavior that's consistent with that culture. And if they don't, you're giving an opportunity for everybody else to say, well, if they can do it that way, then I can do it this way.
So the idea of showing up in pajamas, showing up bringing my rescue parakeet to work, that keeps me calm.
Yes, we have jumped the shark a little bit.
Yes.
The reasonable person standard with some of that stuff. I mean, it honestly, I get where it came from, but it saddens me when we get calls from clients that say, we need to start having coaching sessions with employees and revisit our professional attire policy because wearing pajamas to work, it's not a good optic for the very professional environment we're attempting to be. It's just not.
Reasonable person standard.
Yes.
And that is.
I learned that from employment law attorneys, the reasonable person standard.
Here's the problem with that, hearing it from and learning from attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the idea that something is affordable housing.
Yeah, well. Yeah.
Affordable is different to a whole bunch of people.
It's true. And if you put 10 people in a room, all 10 of them may define reasonable differently.
Yes.
They might.
Yeah. There's going to be certain extremes mm-hmm. that kind of like most people will agree that that's out of bounds.
Well, in the court system, though, this is why we have juries, right? You would hope you would get consensus from reasonable people, and we do go through jury selection to try and meet that reasonable person standard when there is a guilty or not guilty verdict. That's part of the benefit of a jury system.
That is true. And well, you did bring up the jury system.
Uh-oh.
Here we go.
Did I open a slippery slope?
You did, and it is a thing that I talked about lying on the application.
Mhm.
And the lying on the application is, are you a felon or not?
Mm.
And if that really the place that we should it be there anymore after what's happened in the last couple of weeks?
Well, remember now, we're dealing with ban the box in a lot of states. Do you know about ban the box?
No, ma'am. No, no. I know of don't block the boxes,
No.
and that's in with traffic.
If you're still using the traditional paper, often employment application, if in many states, this is not federal law yet, but in many states, they have banned the box. The box meaning you can't ask about criminal convictions on
Oh,
the employment application.
is that so that's the one that says
We don't
pick
do that right out
racism?
of the gate. Right, we don't do that right out of the gate.
We don't do that anymore.
No, what you have to demonstrate is that during pre-employment background check screening, will we find something that disqualifies you from employment because of other legal obligations or because of insurance requirements? Like, for instance, we may have insurance requirements that say if you're a home cleaning company, if they have been convicted of a felony in the last 10 years, you can't put them on that won't be covered under general
Right,
liability.
because they're
Right.
not able to be
Right.
bonded.
So it speaks to what's called the bona fide, I'm even gonna get this right. See, this is why I delegate HR to other people now. But it has to do with the bona fide qualifications of the job. This all ties together to make an informed HR decision.